Hello everyone. Today's my topic for discussion is vitamin B12. So in today's session we'll be covering the chemistry of vitamin B12 and something regarding the metabolism part, that is regarding absorption, transport and storage, and also a little bit about the functions and the clinical significance of vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is used as a general description factor or general term as cobalamines, or the synonyms of vitamin B12 are cyanocobalamin or anti-pernicious anemia factor and extrinsic factor of Castle. Now in detail about the structure of vitamin B12. So it has a structural similarity with the hemoglobin or heme corrin ring system, as it bears a complex corrin ring system which containing pyrrole, that is similar to a porphyrin ring system having hemoglobin. Then at center it is linked to a cobalt atom which is held in the center of the corrin ring system by 4 coordination bonds with the nitrogen of pyrrole rings. The remaining coordination bonds of the cobalt, which are linked with the nitrogen of dimethyl benzimidazole nucleotide. Dimethyl benzimidazole nucleotide. And sixth bond which is linked either to a methylcobalamin or adenosyl cobalamin or hydroxycobalamin, or it can be a cyanocobalamin respectively. So overall this cobalamine, which exists in 3 forms that differ in the nature of the chemical group which is attached to the sixth carbon atom of the cobalt system. Cyanocobalamin is the chemical or commercial available form of vitamin B12. So now the active form of vitamin B12 are mainly methylcobalamin, deoxyadenosylcobalamin are the main active coenzyme form of vitamin B. Scopolamine is synthesized mainly by the microorganism. So in humans, we can obtain this vitamin B12 in small amounts from our intestinal flora, where bacteria will be synthesizing this cobalamin. Otherwise, this cobalamin is mainly present in animal origin food, which includes meat, eggs, milk, dairy products, fish, poultry, etc. Remember, it is mainly seen in the animal origin food sources. Vegetarian foods or vegetable fruits and other food sources of non-animal origin are free from cobalamin unless they are contaminated by the bacteria. So it is like notice that in strict vegetarians they are at risk of developing vitamin B12 deficiency. Now we'll move ahead with the metabolism of vitamin B12. So in this session we'll be focusing on the absorption, transport and storage of vitamin B12. So regarding the dietary absorption or intestinal absorption of dietary vitamin B12, which requires an intrinsic factor, which is a glycoprotein secreted by the parietal cells of the stomach. This intrinsic factor, which binds with the dietary vitamin B12 and forms a complex, that is vitamin B12 and intrinsic factor complex. And always the complexes will be going and bind to a specific receptor on the surface of the mucosal cells of the ileum. And once this B12 and IF complex binds to the receptor, what will happen? The B12 will be releasing from the complex and the receptors will move back. And this B12 which enters the ileal mucosal cells through a calcium dependent process. So this figure which explains the absorption, you can see the dietary vitamin B12 which absorbs from the intestine, which will be binding with a specific receptor which is named here it as haptocorin and forms a vitamin B12 and receptor complex, then which bind with the intrinsic factor, and this intrinsic factor takes this vitamin B12 into the intestinal mucosa where the receptor moves back and the B12 will be getting internalized into the small intestine. Further, what will happen? The vitamin in mucosal cell which is converted into its main plasma transport form to methylcobalamin. So in intestinal mucosa what will happen? B12 will be converted into methylcobalamin and further it will be bind with the transport protein and will be transported with the help of this transport protein that is known as transcobalamin. It can be either a transcobalamin 1 or transcobalamin 2. Then this methylcobalamin which is in excess. So this is the transport form. Methylcobalamin is a transport form or which will be transported along with transcobalamin, and the excess will be getting taken up by the liver cells where it is stored as deoxyadenosyl B12 form. So remember, the storage form of vitamin B12 is deoxyadenosyl B12 form. Now let's see the functions of vitamin B12. There are only two human enzyme systems that are known to require vitamin B12 coenzyme. That is, the first one is that methylmalonyl coenzyme mutase enzyme, and the second one, the enzyme which is responsible for the conversion of homocysteine to methionine by methionine synthase. So remember, two enzymes only mainly in human body requires vitamin B12 as coenzyme, that is methylmalonyl coenzyme mutase and methionine synthase enzyme. So let's see the first function as how this vitamin B12 which will be acting as a coenzyme to helps to convert the methylmalonyl coenzyme to succinyl coenzyme. So, propionyl coenzyme which is produced as a catabolic end product of multiple sources like aliphatic amino acids and aliphatic amino acids like isoleucine, methionine, valine, etc. and also which will be produced as a oxidation of oat chain fatty acid. So this propionyl coenzyme is further converted into succinyl coenzyme. Finally, before that what will happen? Propionyl coenzyme will be converted into an intermediate which is known as initially D-methylmalonyl coenzyme and further to L-methylmalonyl coenzyme A. This L-methylmalonyl coenzyme will be finally converted into succinyl coenzyme with the help of an enzyme, methyl malonyl coenzyme isomerase enzyme. This specific enzyme, that is methyl malonyl coenzyme isomerase, which is also known as methyl malonyl coenzyme mutase enzyme, which requires vitamin B12 as a coenzyme, or this will help to enhance the methyl malonyl coenzyme activity. So finally, propionyl coenzyme will be converted into succinyl coenzyme. So in this point we should remember that if there is vitamin B12 deficiency occurs, what will happen? This methyl malonyl coenzyme will be getting accumulating, and the excess methyl malonyl coenzyme will be excreting through the urine. That clinical condition is known as methyl malonic aciduria. Methyl malonic aciduria. So that is our first function, vitamin B12, the role of vitamin B12 as a coenzyme for the conversion of propionyl coenzyme to succinyl coenzyme. The specific enzyme is methylmalonyl coenzyme isomerase enzyme. So I have already discussed regarding methylmalonic aciduria. If there is vitamin B12 deficiency, what will happen? The conversion of methylmalonyl coenzyme to succinyl coenzyme does not occur, which will be getting accumulated and excreting through the urine. That is known as methylmalonic aciduria. Now the second important function is that vitamin B12 has some role in conversion of homocysteine to methionine. This we have already explained in folic acid functions also. So here the Homocysteine amino acid, homocysteine will be converted into methionine with the help of an enzyme, methionine synthase enzyme. So here for the methionine synthase enzyme, the specific vitamin B12, that is methylcobalamin, is required, and that enhances the methionine synthase enzyme activity. At the same time, what will happen? This is a transmethylation reaction. So methyl group is donated to methionine, so itself will be converted into cobalamin. And for the resynthesis of this methylcobalamin, it requires N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, which gives this methyl group to the cobalamin, and itself will be converted into tetrahydrofolic acid, and resynthesis of methyl cobalamin occurs. So here what will happen? Here another important point, that is known as folate trap. So whenever there is vitamin B12 deficiency occurs, what will happen? There will be trapping of folic acid occurs. That is what the methionine, whatever we have discussed. In cobalamin deficiency, methionine synthase reaction cannot occur properly. That means N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate accumulates and the other carbon 1 donor forms of tetrahydrofolate cannot be reformed. So what will happen? The methionine synthesis from homocysteine ceases. That does not occur. That is allowing the trapping of the folic acid as N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, which will be leading to diminishing levels of N5 and 10 methylene tetrahydrofolate. So this methylene N5 and 10 methylene tetrahydrofolate, which is required for the methylation of deoxyuridine monophosphate to deoxythymidine monophosphate. That portion we have already discussed in the folic acid function. So ultimately what will happen in the vitamin B12 deficiency? The thymidylate synthase reaction is getting slowed and deoxythymidine monophosphate levels will be getting dropped, and finally what will happen? The DNA synthesis will be getting affected. There will be slowdown of DNA synthesis due to the non-availability of deoxyribonucleotide. This is the after effect of folate trap. This figure, which explains the combined role of cobalamin and folic acid in methionine metabolism, what all we have discussed only, we know that for the conversion of homocysteine to methionine, vitamin B12 is required, that is methylcobalamin. For resynthesis of methylcobalamin, we require, that is methyl tetrahydrofolate, and which will be reduced to tetrahydrofolate. Methyl group is donated here. Then with the help of another enzyme, dihydrofolate reductase, which will be reduced to dihydrofolate, and this methylene from tetrahydrofolate, methylene tetrahydrofolate also will be synthesized, that will be converted to methyl tetrahydrofolate. This methylene tetrahydrofolate will be reduced to dihydrofolate. That reaction is required for the conversion of deoxyuridine monophosphate to deoxythymidine monophosphate. So after, what will happen? If there is vitamin B12 deficiency, folate trap occurs, and indirectly which affects the DNA synthesis. Now let's move ahead with the vitamin B12 deficiency. B12 deficiency may occur due to decreased absorption or decreased dietary intake mainly. So dietary deficiency that occurs rarely because all the non-vegetarian food which contains vitamin B12. Then or else decreased production of intrinsic factor. We have seen the role of intrinsic factor in the absorption of dietary B12. So if there is dietary production of intrinsic factor is getting diminished or decreased, that can lead to B12 deficiency, or where B12 absorption does not occur properly and it leads to the deficiency. Then pernicious anemia, gastrectomy, surgical removal of the stomach. Then pancreatic insufficiency, any pancreatic disorders. Then certain parasitic infection like fish tapeworm, that is also a rare condition. Then another disease, Helicobacter pylori infection. So this figure shows the overall vitamin B12 deficiency causes. So mainly in stomach, what all we have discussed, it can be due to either pernicious anemia due to lack of intrinsic factor or defect in intrinsic factor synthesis, or partial or total gastrectomy or gastric bypass, then atrophic gastritis or acid blocking drugs. All these can be leads to vitamin B12 deficiency. Pancreas, chronic pancreatitis can cause vitamin B12 deficiency. Then some other diseases also there which is mentioning like ileal resection, Crohn's disease, bacterial overgrowth, parasitic infections, sprue, etc. also can be leads to vitamin B12 deficiency. Now the deficiency of vitamin B12 mainly leads to four main manifestations. It can be either pernicious anemia, megaloblastic anemia, neuropathy, or methylmalonic aciduria, in which methylmalonic aciduria already been discussed, that is due to deficiency of vitamin B12, where there will be conversion of methylmalonyl coenzyme to succinyl coenzyme does not occur because methylmalonyl coenzyme isomerase reaction which requires vitamin B12. So the accumulation of methylmalonyl coenzyme occurs and excess will be excreted through the urine, that is known as methylmalonic aciduria. Let's go with the other manifestation. The first of all, pernicious anemia. Pernicious anemia is an autoimmune disease of vitamin B12 deficiency. We know autoimmune disease. What is autoimmune disease? There will be production of autoantibodies. Our own antibodies will try to destroy a specific protein. So here, autoantibodies destroy the parietal cells of stomach, resulting in depletion or deficiency of intrinsic factor. As a result, what will happen? The intestinal absorption of dietary B12 is getting decreased. So that can be leading to vitamin B12 deficiency. There will be, it is mainly, pernicious anemia is mainly characterized by megaloblastic anemia, and there will be low hemoglobin and also has some neurological disorders. Second deficiency manifestation is megaloblastic anemia. It occurs due to functional folate deficiency, which is seen in B12 deficiency due to folate trap. I don't want to discuss again in detail. We have seen how the B12 deficiency leads to folate trap. So megaloblastic anemia is one of the characteristic feature of folic acid deficiency, where there will be megaloblastic anemia. So if you are observing the peripheral smear of B12 deficiency or folic acid deficiency patient blood sample, we can appreciate the macrocytic red cells, bigger size macrocytic red cells and hypersegmented neutrophil. So that is the characteristic feature of megaloblastic anemia. Next deficiency manifestation is neuropathy. So neuropathy, it is how it occurs due to, it is mainly due to progressive degeneration of myelinated nerves. How this degeneration of myelinated nerves occurs? That is due to accumulation of L-methylmalonyl coenzyme. L-methylmalonyl coenzyme, remember the role which require for the conversion of propionyl. It is an intermediate of conversion of propionyl coenzyme to succinyl coenzyme. Methylmalonyl coenzyme isomerase or notase which requires B12. So this methylmalonyl coenzyme accumulation that leads to impairment of myelin sheath formation. Impairment of myelin sheath formation. That is a reason for progressive degeneration of myelinated nerves. So the symptoms will be numbness and tingling of fingers and toes. Then there will be mental confusion, poor muscular coordination and dementia. So the overall, the neurological symptoms, all these symptoms together, numbness, tingling of fingers, toes, mental confusion, poor muscular coordination, dementia, spasticity, that is the resistance to the passive movement of limb, and sometimes the paralysis, all these conditions together known as subacute combined degeneration. Mainly the lateral and posterior columns of spinal cord undergo degeneration, that leads to subacute combined degeneration. So this is all about vitamin B12. Thank you once again. So in this topic you must be you have to focus on the biochemical functions and deficiency manifestations of vitamin B12 that can become as a short note. And even you should have a thorough knowledge of metabolism, that is the absorption, transport and storage of vitamin B12. So you have to remember that it occurs a specific intrinsic factor for the absorption of dietary vitamin B12 from the intestine. And remember, it requires a specific transport protein that is known as transcobalamin for the transport, and the plasma transport form is methylcobalamin, and remember the storage form is deoxyadenosine cobalamin. Thank you once again.